and it's okay to be carrying both. You don't need to fight the grief, fight the jealousy. You don't need to criticize yourself, be negative towards yourself, or guilty for feeling those things. It's completely healthy and normal to feel jealousy on this journey. It's okay. Welcome to the 30-something Shift podcast, the podcast where I support women in their 30s move through the real shifts in life that shape our well-being. I'm Liv, a menstrual cycle, fertility and pregnancy yoga teacher. Here we explore our cycles, fertility, conception and pregnancy through yoga, meditation and real conversation. So you open Facebook to be greeted by yet another pregnancy announcement. Or maybe you get invited to a baby shower, or maybe your friend says that she's pregnant without even trying when you've been tracking for months or even years. And then comes the guilt, because you want to be happy for them. You are happy for them, but it can't help but remind you of what you're going through and how you're feeling. If you've ever dealt with this confusing mix of joy, jealousy, grief, and guilt, this episode is for you. Today, we're going to talk about how it feels, the loneliest part of a fertility journey, and what to do when it feels like everyone around you is getting pregnant except you. So let's get to the show. Nobody really prepares you for this part of your fertility journey. We're told about what to expect, how to track. If you're using assisted reproduction, you might be told about the tracking, appointments, the scans, all the things that have to be done. You can be really prepared and over-researched on all of the physical sides of this. But the emotional side isn't talked about enough, and it isn't something that you're really prepared for. To hold grief and heartbreak and jealousy at the same time as you're trying to hold joy for others or hope for yourself is really confusing and really hard to manage. So today we're going to talk about holding these two kind of conflicting emotions side by side. It is completely natural, completely healthy to be feeling both of these emotions. If you feel jealousy, that does not make you a bad friend. If you feel like you're hopeful or joyful about their pregnancy, that doesn't take anything away from the hope and joy you hold for yourself. These conflicting emotions can be really challenging, but this is your permission to know that you can hold them simultaneously, and it's okay to be carrying both. You don't need to fight the grief, fight the jealousy. You don't need to criticize yourself, be negative towards yourself, or guilty for feeling those things. It's completely healthy and normal to feel jealousy on this journey. It's okay. We don't want those feelings to take away the joy we have for others, but also the positive feelings that we can have for ourselves, to manifest this positive thing happening and to hold hope. Holding hope is a really scary thing, especially when you've had disappointment and grief on this journey, which I'm sure you already have. But hope is also a really important thing to not be afraid to hold. You can still have hope, even with grief and even with disappointment. And hope sometimes can carry you through those really difficult moments. So it's all about taking mental control of your journey. Nobody else's journey, nobody else's announcements are going to make any impact to your journey. And you have to ground yourself in that knowledge. Know that you are in control of your journey mentally and all the other aspects. Yes, there's a lot of chance, a lot of statistics, a lot of things that sometimes feel like they're working against you, but you have say over how you hold your emotions and the mental strength that you keep while you're on this journey. That is in your control. No one can take that away from you. And these announcements and these other people getting pregnant does not change that. You are still in mental control of your journey. And we're going to talk about how we can get there, how we can hold that strength within us in today's episode. But the most important thing is not to criticize or feel guilt over really normal, healthy emotions like jealousy. One thing that's made my periods easier is switching to Wooka period pants. As someone who teaches menstrual cycle health and yoga for menstruation, comfort matters to me, and I know it matters to you too. I want to move, rest, and work without constantly having to worry about my period. Wooka reusable period pants are stretchy, they're comfortable, they support you, especially on heavy days. If you'd like to make the switch to Wooka period pants, I've put the link in the show notes. So why this hurts so much? This isn't really about someone else's pregnancy, and our logical brain knows that. We know that somebody else getting pregnant has absolutely no impact or change the likelihood of it being successful for us. Deep down, we really know that. But in the moment when these announcements happen, or you see something on social media, baby or pregnancy related, and it triggers you, triggers these emotions we've been talking about, it's really just a reminder about your own journey. We know it's not to do with them, but it's like a jab, right, to the heart. It's a reminder of what you don't have because that person has it. There comes that jealousy again. But we're not going to criticize or feel guilty about that. We're going to accept it, note that we are feeling jealous, let it pass, and move on. We're not going to fixate on it, let it control or dictate our emotions or our behaviours. But we can accept, I feel jealousy. You can even say that out loud or write it down in your journal, tell your partner or a friend, I feel jealousy. Just own it, accept it, don't try and hide from it, but know that it's healthy and normal to feel that way. And we've got to talk about social media. Social media is the place for comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's so true. I could spend about 5 minutes on social media and I would automatically feel worse about my body, my exercise routine, my bedtime routine, my health, my diet and my nutrition. Like there's so many things on there telling us to do this, do this, do this. Look at my life, look at what I do 9 to 5. You can so easily compare yourself in any aspect of your life, but particularly you're going to see things on there about pregnancy, conception, and babies. The algorithm doesn't know what you're going through, and so you've looked up these things before, and therefore you're more likely, obviously, to see them in your feed. So you could open your feed and it'd be absolutely full of pregnancy and baby related stuff. And something that's really important is that I wouldn't advise you to avoid all pregnancy related things. So it's not necessarily the best thing to completely avoid anything to do with pregnancy or babies. And I'll explain later on in the episode why that is. So let's talk boundaries. So give yourself permission to protect your peace. Boundaries are not selfish, they're a form of self-care. And whatever these boundaries look like to you on this journey is completely up to you. If you want to keep this a secret from everyone, or you want to tell your friends what's going on, those boundaries are completely up to you. If you want to avoid pregnancy related stuff, or you don't want to go to baby showers, it is completely up to you. There's no right way for you to protect your peace on this journey. As I said, later on we are going to talk about not avoiding everything, but if that's the way you have to manage this, then do you. That is okay. Give yourself permission to set those boundaries and protect your peace. Now we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not we tell people that we're on this journey. So again, there's no right or wrong way. We're not given a guide for this journey, right? We're kind of figuring it out on our own. Telling friends about your journey is something that you decide in yourself. If you're in a couple, decide between you whether it's something that you want to discuss with others, with friends or family, or whether you want to keep it just between you until obviously you're pregnant and you decide when to tell people. But do it for the right reasons. So I don't want you to not tell anyone because of this fear of jealousy or this fear of, oh, if something goes wrong, then I've got to talk about that. If I have a loss, I've got to tell them because I told them what was happening. They're going to know that I'm at a scan. They're going to know I'm at this appointment or whatever it is. Don't let the fear be the reason you don't tell people. If you don't want to tell people, that's absolutely fine, but don't do it because of that fear. And the reason is that people can be such a great support. As we already talked about, this is a really lonely journey. And having the right people, people that you trust, telling people what you're going through can be really liberating, and they can offer really good support. And talking about these kind of pregnancy announcements, sometimes friends don't know what's going on. Sometimes they don't know what you're going through. And so when they announce these things, they don't realise how much it's going to hurt you. And it's not that they're not going to tell you if they know what's going on, but they may just deal with it a bit more delicately. They may sort of do it privately, one-to-one, rather than in a group announcement. If they know what's going on, they may be able to help to manage those situations better for you. So just do it for the right reasons. Don't do it because you're afraid. If you're a private person and it feels good to just keep it quiet until you're pregnant, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that that's what you really want. And even if you have just one person, you don't have to tell everyone. If you have one person that you really trust, that's really good at advice, that you just feel would really help your support network, then maybe choose just to tell them. So telling people can be scary, but it's really, really important that you have a strong support network around you, and sometimes outside of your couple. Even though you're really supportive of each other, you know exactly what you're going through, it can help both of you to have support outside of the relationship so that you can both lean on someone else as well as each other. So it can also help you in that sense. In this podcast, I talk a lot about listening to your body and slowing down. One of my favourite little rituals in the evening is a cup of Twining Sleep spiced apple and vanilla tea. It literally tastes like warm apple pie and it is so delicious. It gives my body signals that it's time to relax, unwind and get cozy for the evening. Follow the link in the show notes if you want to try it yourself. So let's talk about why we shouldn't avoid pregnancy things altogether. Now, we've already talked about protecting our peace and setting those boundaries. If going to a baby shower or looking at baby clothes is too painful for you, then that's absolutely fine. Set those boundaries and protect your own peace. But there is a difference between protecting yourself and completely disconnecting yourself from the world that you want to be a part of. And by completely avoiding all this sort of pregnancy and baby related things, we're unintentionally sending messages to ourselves that that world is for other people. That world isn't something that we're a part of or are ever going to be a part of. And that's a really powerful sort of subconscious message that we're sending ourselves. And another part of this is manifestation and visualization are really powerful tools on a fertility journey. They can be quite difficult to sort of get used to, and the concept of it of, oh, imagining it's going to happen is not going to make it happen. Once you get past that and you start practicing them, they are such a powerful tool, and manifestation really works, and it's all about focusing on the positive. It's about focusing on the things that you want to happen instead of focusing on the things that you don't. So you'll start seeing things, you'll start feeling like it's more possible the more that you embrace that life, the more that you believe it can happen. Remember, our brain believes what we tell it. If we believe this will happen and we can visualize it, then our brain's going to believe that. And we're not going to have any conflict or negativity or any subliminal messages that we don't deserve it or we're not part of that world or we're never going to get there. If we embrace it and allow ourselves to imagine it, and I know this is hard because this is like holding hope. It can be a really scary thing to do, But the alternative is to believe it's not going to happen, and that isn't particularly nice either. I would choose hope over that any day of the week. So allow yourself, although it's scary, to hold that hope. Allow yourself to visualize, manifest this beautiful thing that you want, not to completely avoid it and make yourself believe that you're not worthy of it, because you absolutely are. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's allowing yourself to believe that your story is still unfolding. And when it's emotionally safe to do so, I really encourage you to just gently stay connected to this world that you want to be a part of. Don't completely disconnect yourself, because you do deserve it. It will happen for you, and you're worthy of exactly that. Let's talk timelines. This is another big comparison thing that we sort of get ourselves trapped into of, I thought I'd be pregnant by now, I thought I would have a child by now, this person is the same age as me, it's happening for them, or maybe they're on their third child. We so easily compare our timelines as if there's some standard sort of life milestones that every woman follows, right? There's just not. Your fertility journey is so individual, just like your life is. Some people prioritize children earlier, some people prioritize career and have children later. There's no right way to do this and no right time to have children. So just know that your time will come when it's meant to. And I know it's really hard, but sometimes surrendering into that belief that the universe is doing its thing and it's going to come at the right time for you. And you will only believe that when it happens and you look back and think, oh yeah, this was the right time. I know it's really hard to believe that where you currently are, and that's okay. But for now, we're going to stop the comparison timelines. Everyone's journey is different, everybody's individual, and it will come to you at the right time. And comparing yourself is just going to make it harder. And again, coming back to those people doing it at that age or that point of their life doesn't impact your life. It doesn't mean you can't also do that. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen for you. Keep it separate. Ground yourself in your journey and what you can control, your mental capacity on this journey, and your ability to hold those emotions unwavered by everything else that's going on around you, all these announcements, all these things. Ground yourself in your own journey. One of the amazing ways that we can do this, and we can learn to hold these two conflicting emotions at the same time, is yoga. I haven't mentioned it yet, but of course it's going to come up. Yoga has been my sanctuary on my fertility journey. It's been the place where I could step onto the mat, let all the other stuff just melt away, and it really helps to bring awareness to the thoughts and the emotions that we hold. So during yoga poses, we focus on our breath, and if we're also doing meditative practices while we're in yoga poses, we start to note our thoughts and let them pass. I often describe it as a cloud passing in the sky. You notice it, you don't give it time, you don't give it energy, you're not dismissing it as unimportant, you're just letting it pass in the sky. And this is the same with the thoughts that come up during our practice. And those thoughts are going to be tied to emotions, as thoughts often are. And sometimes we're holding grief or jealousy at the same time as we're holding joy and hope. And what yoga does is it allows us to bring awareness to those emotions. Remember, we're not dismissing emotions. We're not trying to get rid of them. Oh, these emotions are bad, I'm going to try and get rid of these ones and keep these ones. No, all emotions are valid and healthy, and all these conflicting emotions you're feeling are completely okay and completely normal. We're going to hold them, show awareness to them with no judgment. Yoga allows you to do that, because when you're in a pose, you're focused on the pose, you've listened to the cues, you're focused in on your breath, you note these emotions, and that's it. You stop the judgment, you stop the spiral of your mind. We keep bringing it back, and this does take practice, but you keep bringing your awareness back to the breath, noting the emotion, noting the thought, and letting it pass without giving it a lot of time and a lot of energy. This is how yoga can be so powerful. It's not just a physical practice of yoga on the mat. It's an emotional and mental strengthening practice that has been everything to me on this fertility journey. I don't know where I would have been without those yoga practices, without those moments when I was able to show awareness to my breath, let everything else fall away, to hold conflicting emotions at the same time without guilt. Yoga has allowed me to do that, and it can do the same for you. It's such a powerful tool. Okay, so let's bring this all together and just talk about practical ways that you can support yourself on this journey when these pregnancy announcements or pregnancy related content is coming up for you. So some of these we've already touched on. We're going to go back to it. Limit social media when you can. So again, we're not completely avoiding pregnancy related content, but comparison's the thief of joy. Remember that. Social media is a comparison platform. So just limit it, just use it in the right way, because also social media is exactly that, social. There's support, there's connection out there, so you can use it in the right way, but just be mindful of doom scrolling, comparison, and getting yourself into that negative mind spiral. So limit social media. Spend time with people who make you feel good, make you feel supported, whether or not you told them what you're going through. Just surround yourself with good, positive people. Even if they don't know what's going on, they still lift you up, they still support your mental health. So make sure that your support network is really good and positive. It doesn't have to be big, just a few trusted people that you can confide in, or just that make you feel good, even if you're not telling them what's going on at the moment. We touched on this, moving your body, going outside in nature, on the yoga mat, always recommended. Meditation, also this visualization and manifestation. If you start to practice yoga and meditation, I've got loads of resources if you want to get started with me. You'll start to find it easier to tap into that visualization once you get a little bit more confident with meditation and yoga. So that's the best place to start. It can be quite challenging to just sit down in silence and try to do a visualization. So start with yoga and meditation, get into that mindset, get into those, letting those thoughts pass and that practice, just a few minutes a day, and you'll start to get comfortable with it really quickly. Then you can add in the visualizations and manifestation to support you on this journey. That stops you spiraling into this comparison web, but also, like we talked about, it allows you to believe and make your brain believe that this is a life that you will get and you are worthy of. You're not restricting yourself. I'm not allowing myself to visualize that. I'm not looking at anything pregnancy related. No, we're going to manifest it. We're going to stay positive, and we're going to believe that we're part of that world, because we will be at the right time. So all these tools and things that you can do are just ways to make this easier, because it's a really difficult journey. You don't need me to tell you that, but don't just surrender to the challenge of it. Know that there are things that you can do. There's ways that you can support yourself, and there's ways that can make it a little bit easier on you and your mind, because we really want to protect our mental health any day, but on this journey particularly, it's really, really important. And think of it as an investment into motherhood as well, and pregnancy, where your mental health is also so crucial. Start protecting it now and make that easier for you when this does happen, because it will happen for you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I really hope that if you're on a fertility journey, it helped you. If you're not, and you know a friend that is, or it made you think of someone, please share it with them so that it can reach as many women on this journey as possible and help them to support themselves, support their mind, and give them the permission to protect their peace, but also to manifest and imagine this life that they want, because it's absolutely possible to happen for them. So the message is to protect yourself, but not to completely disconnect yourself from the world that you want to be a part of. All the resources for fertility, meditation and yoga will be in the show notes. And thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care.